Yes, my Straight Talk family, when you hear that theme song, you know it's long past the time for me to say good night, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Caribbean region, and good night to the world. And we are on the World Wide Web, so I can also say good night. I can't say good morning, and I will say good afternoon, because some of you are in Africa, there's some of you in Asia, there's some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say, as I said before, good night, good morning, good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you find yourselves. And I must apologize for my tardy start tonight. As so often, these technical glitches pop up, and tonight was no exception. But I always give you back the time if you so desire that time, my Straight Talk family. And for the first timers, just to let you know that Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. Yes, we're a little late tonight, but from 8 to 10 in the PM. And we are a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us, in the process, let us strive where possible to get St. Kitts back to that enviable position of being one of the freest, if not the freest country in the entire world. It's a hard ask, I know it is. A difficult ask, I can tell you. But my Straight Talk family, let's try. Nothing beats a failure but a trial. And on this program, we tried to raise the level of national consciousness. We tried to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And on each occasion, we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things. Let's bring those evil things, to light. And we need to seek the courage needed from Almighty God, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. And that's why I tell you each time, my Straight Talk family, that absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. Absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We no need to make it more interesting, neither by omission nor by exaggeration. And Straight Talk is not about sensationalism or creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we always lean on the facts. As I consider it my bounden duty to always present what I call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance in St. Kitts and Nevis, and beyond for that matter. As this program joins us together with people across the Federation, we are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. My Straight Talk family, we advance positions of truth. Some will agree, and some will disagree. And that's fine, because we are a different people. So we promote diversity of views. But please, what will sadden me, my Straight Dog family, is if we ever start, I should say, to become disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God in the meantime for helping us to understand, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us in the meantime hope and pray for that day when we all will sing his praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks for those who try to who share the link. Rather, you bring first-timers, and for the first-timers, I must tell you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and your emails, and if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your screens. If you like the cloak of anonymity, I call it, we give you access by our email platform. That too is on your screen, straightdogpatches@gmail.com. So let me welcome quickly our junior brigade, the leaders of tomorrow. Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, young Ru Costa over there in South Carolina, Jamal in Anguilla, Travis and Travon. And what about that special lady in St. Louis? And my Straight Talk family, on a sad note, I learned of the untimely passing of Patrick Weeks. We all know him as Southie. Another Newtown man has gone, as we told you already about Chucky, who I'm told will be buried tomorrow. But condolences are therefore extended to Juliet, Lucky, or as a matter of fact, the entire Weeks family, which is a large and close-knit one. So I'm careful not to run the risk of omitting anyone, like his uncles Roy. I haven't seen Roy for a long time, and Matthew as well, and the entire Weeks clan, I must say. And I want to also add that I normally remind you of that Jimmy Cliff song which goes, "Who feels it knows it." Because when we lose loved ones, many of us come and extend our condolences. We say lots of things, but really it's who feels it knows it, especially if it's someone near and dear to you. But all I can say, my Straight Dog family, to those who are mourning the loss of loved ones, all I can say is that death is a process. And we normally go into our observations in review, and I'll do so without much hesitation at 19 past 8 o'clock. We also, after this, we move into our dissertation, our thesis, which tonight is titled 4 Doctors, the Economy, and More People are Dying Under July. And our observations, which is an integral part of our program, after which I will move right into my thesis, following which I'll entertain your calls and your emails, as mentioned earlier, to allow full participation, because on this program, we all get an opportunity to have our say. Yes, you can have your say. And my first observation, my Straight Dog family, I referred to a political event last Thursday, or that was held last Thursday morning at the C.A. Paul's Southwell industrial site. And I told you about a deal that was sealed, and the $40 or $50 million contract for a 2 million gallon per day desalination plant was handed to Royal Utilities. In the process, I made mention of the conspicuous absence of the manager and water engineer Cromwell Williams, which in fact I must confess was an inaccurate statement, because the manager and water engineer, as you can glean from your screen, I did not recognize him. It looks like the politician himself. But the manager and water engineer Cromwell, we apologize for that, was in fact present, as can be gleaned from the photo on your screen. He is in the far left, just by that lady in the green dress. So we do apologize for this inaccuracy. However, I must hasten to add that the remainder of the observation in review was totally accurate. As I said, no procurement was done in accordance with the Procurement and Administration Act. I posted the methods of procurement. I also, in fact, gave notice or posted the notice of prequalification as well. I reminded you as well about what Garth Lucifer Wilkin told us about criminality, when he said that it is a criminal offense to pay money, disburse money from the government treasury without tendering or without the tendering process. I also went on to remind you of the quality issue that remains regarding the water that was found at Cabbage Tree in Keon, that was found by Bede. Straight Talk is still awaiting a final report from the Water Services Department regarding the quality of water and the last test that was done just about a week ago by Straight Talk family. We are also awaiting the advice of the SOCA engineer Conris Maynard in respect of Shadwell 2. And we reminded you, and we will continue to remind you until things change, that well is still capped. It's still capped. And recall that the Bureau of Standards found a high level of arsenic contamination in that well, which rendered the water unfit for human consumption. The minister responsible for water and SOCA engineer Conris, he also committed to the country. And months ago, and Bede has stopped drilling for months now. But Conris Maynard also committed to the country, which is a part of the contract that was signed under Team Unity, that when Bede was finished drilling at Keon, it would move to rectify the well at Shadwell 2. Conris Maynard said this, my Straight Talk family, we must remind him and keep him honest. He said this to the country.
The next step, of course, is the Shadwell well, and plans are ongoing to address the Shadwell well. That will help the Bastard area and also the St. Peter's area.
So we will still await, my Straight Talk family, the update on the outstanding work that is still to be done at Shadwell 2. That well was drilled under Team Unity and should have produced 350,000 gallons per day. But because of the arsenic contamination, like I said before, it has not been commissioned. We also alerted you that the quality issues are not only in the field. As Straight Talk learned that SOCA engineer Conris Maynard has quality issues inside the very office that he occupies at administration. We played a video that's still making the rounds in relation to that post lady. And whereas we have not confirmed the cause of death, we again extend condolences to the family of this young lady whose life was cut short. We cannot confirm that it was because of her exposure to the elements, the mold in the post office. The General Post Office, my Straight Talk family, however, was never closed. Yet the minister and SOCA engineer Conris Maynard hurriedly closed his office a few days ago, and the entire administration department is still closed as we speak because of mold infection. However, very strange but very true. The Water Services Department downstairs, below the Administration Department, is still open, despite the numerous staff complaints about the moldy situation in that department. And it is even visible on the furniture, the chairs on which the staff sit. And I can only say, my Straight Dog family, that this depicts the animal nature of SOCO engineer Conris Maynard. Was closed his office, but he don't give a hell about the post office, neither the Water Services Department. But we are following this story, and we will keep you posted, as he has closed his office and the entire Administration Department is closed, while others have to succumb and tolerate that poor environment in the workplace. And for my second observation, I wish my brothers and sisters in Nevis a wonderful festival that commences this coming Thursday from July 25. Culturama, it is called. And it, as I said, runs from July 25th to August 6th this year. Culminates just after we celebrate Emancipation Day, which I believe is celebrated on is the 5th or 6th of August this year, that Monday. But as a division born in St. Kitts, I must remind my brothers and sisters across the Narrows that even as you celebrate your culture and embrace history for Culturama 50, as per your theme, those of you who live at home in Nevis in particular must prepare yourselves for the economic shackles already placed on you by the snake Mark Brantley. Remember, the snake Mark Brantley has to date not paid the Social Security contribution for all government employees of the NIA, and he has ignored this letter, and this letter is dated May 2022, and the monies owed continue to accumulate into more millions, my Straight Dog family. This letter, he has not paid 1 cent. He is flouting the laws of the Federation over there in Nevis. My Straight Dog family, after 7 years, the wing at the Alexandria Hospital is still not complete yet. But he has spent money on the Culturama village for a big show. The snake Mark Brantley is just grinning in all these photo ops, and he's with the chief grinner, I call it, my Straight Dog family, July. But the $400 million needed for the first phase of Geothermal, my Straight Dog family, cannot be found after his launch time and time again, my Straight Dog family.
Earlier today at Hamilton Estate, an official ribbon cutting ceremony took place to signal the commencement of the drilling operations for the geothermal test well. Deputy Premier and Cabinet-appointed Minister responsible for the geothermal project, the Honourable Mark Brantley, outlined the significance of the project.
This geothermal project, has been an exercise that has now occupied the minds of governments, and even through change of governments on the island of Nevis since about 2004. And so as we stand here today in November of 2017, we're talking about now 13 years that we have been trying to get to a point where we can move this project forward. I think the advantages of geothermal are well known. We're talking about clean energy, green energy, cheaper energy, and a renewable resource that really puts Nevis in a category of its own. If we can achieve what we intend to achieve here, it means that Nevis becomes fossil fuel free for its generation of electricity. It puts us really in a category of our own in the Caribbean and perhaps in the world in terms of being completely sustainable for our electricity supply.
According to Brantley, a total of 6 locals have been employed on the project thus far.
This is a resource given to us by God. It is a resource that is made available to us, and it is for us now to harness that for the benefit of the people of Nevis. I am not the Minister of Energy, of course, but the Cabinet, in its wisdom, decided to have me deal with this specific project because of my prior involvement in 2004 and continuing when this project originally started way back when. We have made, I think, considerable progress. I want to thank the SIDF that has provided some resources to bring us to this point. I want to thank Bruce, Dan, NREI, Thermal Energy Partners. I want to thank our drillers who have come, and I'm especially pleased that I was told this morning that 6 locals, 6 residents have been employed thus far on this project.
And my Straight Talk family, that in fact was 7 years ago. But as you may have gleaned from the snake, Mark Brantley, this project, with all its legacy issues, dates back 20 years to 2004. Yet, his announcement in December last year that money was secured from the Caribbean Development Bank, $17 million US. He boasted about some letter he couldn't get from Team Unity. But where is the project going, and what is the current disposition of this project, which I said would cost in its initial phase $400 million. But the hardships and the many woes that Nevisians must endure are without an end in sight, given that the over $500 million debt that Nevis has incurred and continues to climb because of this incompetent leader called the snake, Mark Brantley. This debt will go up and up until the people of Nevis get the courage and the wisdom, my Straight Talk family, the courage and the wisdom to send this incompetent leader home. Former Premier had this to say about him.
Elections have consequences. Mark Brantley had no experience. The doctors who didn't have any experience. I ask yourself the question, is that person for self or is that person for the country? And that last bit is very important because there are so many politicians now who are in it for self and not for the country. You must ask yourself, is this person for self or is this person for country?
And certainly
have consequences. Mark Brantley has no experience. The doctors who didn't have any experience. Ask yourself the question, is that person for self or is that person for the country?
And Mark Brantley, we will all agree, is not for country. He is for self. And what manner of man could he be when he mashed up a government of which he was a part under the guise of a fair share? A government that paid his civil servants and pumped over $500 million into the Nevis economy. What manner of man could he be when he has not got 1 cent more from July after 2 years, even after sitting on the opposition bench for 2 years and never once opposing or oppose the government. The over 12,000 voters who did not support the incumbent Labour Party from PLP, from PAM and NRP, therefore have no representation in the parliament. Suffice to just add, my straight dog family, that this snake, Mark Brantley, is bad for democracy. In the interest of time, because I want to actually allow you to have your say, I'll move right into my thesis, and those are my observations in review for tonight. I'll stop right there in terms of observations and move right into my thesis, which I've titled 4 Doctors, my straight dog family. 4 doctors, the economy, and more people are dying under July. Dr. July. And my straight talk family, I listened to our second Prime Minister, Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, who made a very interesting statement at the St. Kitts Nevis Investment Gateway Summit, held over the period of 10th to 14th July 2024, that was last week. And Douglas, who is Senior Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs and others, made this statement that I will use as my point of departure for tonight. Douglas said this, my straight dog family.
I'm a medical doctor. The current Prime Minister is a medical doctor. Our first Prime Minister was a medical doctor. The one in between is a doctor of sorts. But we are medical doctors. And that is why, it's a very serious statement. And that is why, if petitions and divisions are to be competitive, if we are to fulfill our God-given potential, we must not only be educated, but we must be healthy, as I said.
Yes, 3 medical doctors, according to Denzel Douglas, and a doctor of sorts. I'm going to replay this, which again I will use as my point of departure for tonight, my straight talk family.
I'm a medical doctor. The current Prime Minister is a medical doctor. Our first Prime Minister was a medical doctor. The one in between is a doctor of sorts. But we are medical doctors.
Yes, my straight talk family. The one in between, he said, is a doctor of sorts. So in fact, we've had 4 prime ministers, 3 of them were medical doctors, and another doctor of sorts. And I struggle somewhat to interpret the doctor of sorts. And my research suggests that a doctor of sorts is someone who performs medical duties, but is not a traditional doctor. And I said, surely that cannot be Timothy Harris. Because our third Prime Minister, Timothy Harris, is in fact a doctor of philosophy, which denotes the highest level of academic achievement in a given discipline, and in his case, I believe it is accounting and finance. No wonder he led this country with such distinction. When one reflects on the history of St. Kitts, Nevis and Anguilla and its political leadership, Bradshaw and Southwell had no university education, but their stellar performances at the helm of government and the Union earned them, no doubt, their status as national heroes. Bradshaw got a little bit of resources from Mother England, which he had to do quite a lot for his people. It is said, however, that Bradshaw never really accepted the stark economic differences in systems of production on the three islands. St. Kitts, for example, was the only one of the trinity of islands called St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla that had a landless labor force who was solely dependent upon earnings from the main crop, sugar. Whereas most divisions and Anguillans were self-employed and therefore had a totally different perspective, a different point of view, so to speak, in respect of economic, social, and political development. Many divisions made the move to St. Kitts, however, and benefited from the policies advocated by the labor movement, unlike the ones that stayed behind, shared an entirely different experience. Recall that the islands of St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla were united by a federal act in 1882, my straight talk family, over a century, and became an independent state in association with the United Kingdom on February 27, 1967. We were all granted full internal self-government with the United Kingdom that retained responsibility for defense and foreign affairs. But from the moment that we were granted associated status with Britain, or statehood as some call it, this opened the door for or to secession. Anguilla rebelled, recall, as they would not succumb to the leadership of Bradshaw. Rumbling became louder and louder in Nevis. Fast track to 1980, after the death of Bradshaw in 1978 and Southwell in 1979, and the short-lived premiership of Liburd, who took the country to the polls in 1980. And this brought about the first coalition government between the Simmons-led PAM and Sim Daniels' NRP. This political marriage of convenience took our nation to independence in 1983, and with it, a constitution still laced with political expediency, clearly outlined in the 113 clause, or as we call it, the secession clause. The first prime minister and medical doctor must be given credit for the Southeast Peninsula Road, once labeled as the road to nowhere. But look at the area today. Simmons must also take credit for the reclamation of 25 acres of land at Port Zante. Port Zante was expected to sink, according to the Lebanese and former Minister of Tourism, who ironically still occupies an office at Port Zante. So this medical doctor gave life to economic development, but like all of us, he had his faults. But one thing I will always remember is the repealing of the Bastardsy Act by the Simmons administration, which meant a lot to many of us, and in particular to single mothers, I should say. Under the second prime minister and medical doctor, Dennis Douglas, not only did our economy die, as we became the highest debtor nation in the world and had to run to the IMF for a bailout. Our young men began to die like flies on our streets, as we also became the crime capital of the world. It took not a medical doctor, but like I said, a doctor of philosophy, and our third Prime Minister, Timothy Harris, to salvage the ship of state, my straight dog family. Harris paid off the IMF debt, recovered 400 acres of land in the name of the people. And if we are honest, we would say, like Big Lies said, my straight dog family, just a few days ago.
A little back. when unity was in power, when they had the falling out with Sean and Timothy and they, and you compare the country then to the country now, even though things were mashing up under the unity, things were much better. Things were much better under the unity because people had money in their pockets. And you tell me you're going to fix it. And we're balling.
But people had money in their pockets because Timothy Harris was not a medical doctor. As I said, he was he is a doctor of philosophy, specializing in, I believe, accounts and financing. But now, my Straight Dog family, we have the third medical doctor and fourth Prime Minister July, who is taking St. Kitts Nevis in the wrong direction. He has further divided us economically, giving himself 41% increase in his own salary. Yet, he has taken away the life support of $500 per month that meant so much to so many poor people in the country. My Straight Dog family, this lady cried out like many who have done so before.
They turned me away from my job, right? And 3 months later, they said, they thought they take away $500, and when I go and I asked them, they said, I'm on the threshold. So I want to know what it means. In February, March, they stopped me from working, and then now in June, they take away the $500 from me. They said, I'm on the threshold. They called me week before and asked me who living in the house with me. I said, my sister. I said, she on the work, a job. So that's it. I have paid the electricity and the cable bill. She don't have any dependent bills in me to do it.
So my Straight Dog family, this third medical doctor has taken away, like I said, the life support of so many poor people, that $500 per month. And you hear that poor lady crying. The economy is dying or almost dead. As nothing is going on, things are hard. Poor people can't afford to buy food to eat. Chicken is a poor man's staple. It's basic or necessary item of food bought by so many poor people. People can't afford a pound of chicken. And July doesn't even know. He doesn't even have a clue of its cost, my Straight Dog family. You remember he said this?
Just tonight, I was asked by the Prime Minister, what is the cost of a pound of chicken in St. Kitts? Well, of course, I asked my press secretary to take a look. And I reflected and wondered why the Prime Minister was asking such a question. And it's because I am thinking in my own mind that the cost of chicken might be going up. But as I reflect on it, we in St. Kitts and Nevis are also facing the same challenge. People are now making memes that I used to go to the supermarket with $100 and I couldn't fit on a bus or put it in my car trunk. Now when I go with $100, the child can carry how much things I can buy.
Could you imagine that, my Straight Dog family? People can go to the supermarket with $100. And your little child, he said, can carry the things you buy. That is what's happening under July, my Straight Dog family. That is what's happening under July. Wicked government. All about self and none for thee. That's the nature of the beast we are facing, my Straight Dog family. July put the solar farm project into limbo. As a result, 200 jobs have not materialize have been lost, my Straight Dog family. 200 jobs have been lost on a project that could have reduced the cost of electricity in the country. Instead, this incompetent bunch of experts, self-acclaimed experts, have decided to rent generators. Rent generators, my Straight Dog family, instead of ensuring that they implement the project. Put it aside because of what? Or the government who brought the idea. But even his own special advisor, as incompetent as he may be, his own special advisor, Appleton I call him, as incompetent as he may be, he understands and said that this project is a good project, my Straight Dog family. If it's good, why don't they implement it, my Straight Dog family?
It is a good project based on our own studies, calling in the expertise from right in the Caribbean to assess. It's a good project. Mm-hmm. They feel that it was properly assessed and the costing was within the range of what it would cost anyway to do that.
And my Straight Dog family, where is the housing project that was so gleefully announced by the slow student Jeffrey Hanley? Remember he told us about this agreement, my Straight Dog family?
As a government, we believe that it is critically important for our citizens and residents to become home owners, and as such has made it a top priority to create affordable housing solutions that will meet the ever-growing housing demand. Today, as the Minister responsible for housing and human settlement, I am pleased to formally announce that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and National Housing Corporation NHC has signed a contract with East Coast Housing Development, a Trinidadian-based developer, to finance and deliver 2,400 affordable smart homes over a period of 4 years, 600 of which will be made available each year. EC's $600 million has been sourced by this developer to fund the project, and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, through NHC, will facilitate the development and be the point of access for the citizens who are interested in procuring a smart home.
But my Straight Dog family, that was over a year ago. Over a year ago, this gleeful announcement made by the slow student Jeffrey Hanley. And there's a rumor circulating, my Straight Dog family, that the developer Brian Singh is in some sort of trouble in his homeland of Trinidad and Tobago. But we cannot confirm that. We are investigating that matter. But 3 weeks ago, July, said that the project will resume next week. Next week has not come as yet, but he said this, my Straight Dog family.
He is building presently over 20-something homes. And that is even before the full rollout of our smart home program, which in earnest is going to kick off very much this week.
Kick off this week. That was 3 weeks ago. Yet of the 2,400 smart homes in 2 years, as the first announcement was made in November 2022, heading hard to 2 years, and only 2 houses have been built. My Straight Dog family. with no answer to this ghost-like housing project. The NHC, beg your pardon, peddles nonsense on social media about building 20 houses. Where are the smart homes? This $600 million project. And the government has already guaranteed 25% of that, $150 million. Where are the smart homes, my straight dog family? These are the questions we ask. Questions must be answered. They are not being answered, my straight dog family, because this government is not a transparent government, my straight dog family. Not a transparent government at all. They're not, my straight dog family. What about the Bastia High School project? What about the Bastia High School project? Is that a fair question, my straight dog family? What about the Bastia High School project? Is it a fair question, I ask, my straight dog family? But July abandoned this project. He and his incompetent slow student and minister with responsibility for education. This was a shovel-ready project, my straight dog family.
There was a shovel-ready project, which is the Bastia High School. The project had already, the plans had already been done. The impact studies had already done. But you choose to shelf it. Today, the ordinary man, construction workers, instead of having the tools rusting, could have been there working. People could have been earning money at the Bastia High School. And why it was shut down? Because of politics. It had nothing to do with water, the water situation. So we got to be careful. It's politics why the country is stagnant. As a matter of fact, since the change of government, I am involved in construction. I haven't worked for the year. The country is stagnant, or actually maybe in reverse. It ain't got nothing to do with the farm administration. It is, I think, it's because of incompetence why we are facing the situation that we are facing.
Incompetence, my straight dog family. How else can you put it? Photo ops, Facebook posts, breaking ground here, breaking ground there, and breaking ground everywhere. The new hospital, a new hotel, and the list of ghost projects go on. But that cannot stimulate the economy, my straight dog family. Addressing the food prices, the cost of electricity, and the lack of employment. No jobs for thousands leaving school come this September. Or come already. But thousands leaving school will only add to the problems. The only way to rise our economy from the dead, Dr. July, is to tackle the bread and butter issues that confront us. The CBI is in a coma, confronted with a RICO lawsuit. Our foreign direct investment is seriously threatened. This program started with the first medical doctor in 1984. It was taken to a new level by the second medical doctor, my straight dog family. Thrived at his best under the doctor of accounting and finance. But this incompetent medical doctor is on the verge of mashing up the CBI. He is so insecure and so ill-advised, he paid $1,500 dividend, respectively, and unceremoniously, he put an end to this promise with a non-excuse, my straight dog family, a non-excuse. But there are 30,000 contributors to the Social Security Fund and 8,500 pensioners. So let's say he paid everyone $1,000. That only amounts, my straight dog family, that only amounts to $38 million. Only $38 million, my straight dog family. But what has he done with the money, my straight dog family? In 2014, the actuals were just over $300 million. In 2022, according to the records, the actual revenue received from the Citizenship by Investment Program was over $600 million. So what is he talking about when he said no dividends? Look at the actuals from 2014, my straight dog family. Look at Citizenship by Investment. The actuals of 2014. Look at the furthest right-hand column. Go down just about 3 from the bottom. $325,408, my straight dog family. Let's look at 2022. Look at 2022 now, my straight dog family. You see that for yourselves? At 2022, the actuals, $668 million, my straight dog family. That's 2022. And imagine, when we get the actuals for 2023, come next budget. Because July, we are told, signed over 22,000 COR, Certificates of Origin. So why couldn't you pay a paltry dividend? Why couldn't he pay this monkey money, my straight dog family? Why couldn't he pay this monkey money, which would have amounted to some based on my calculation, would have been some $38 million. This man, like his friend across the waters, does not know about money. That's why he made all these stupid comments about red and this person that. He said this about the dividend.
And we have shared the wealth from the CBI with our people. Whenever the opportunity presents itself, I will share it with the people. But it's a dividend, meaning that is the extra that is left after you would have fulfilled your full budget and any other thing that you can give directly.
My straight dog family, the nonsense coming from the mouth of July irritates, believe me, it irritates my straight dog family. Irritates to the core. And we just can't wait to see him go. The country cannot wait to see this man leave office, my straight dog family. The country cannot wait to see him go. But what's more troubling though? What's more troubling is the safety and security of our people. My straight dog family, when we examine where our country has gone in just 2 years, many regret the decisions they made in 2022. 2 years later, it seems as though coronavirus is still with us. The COVID-19 is still with us. Things are much worse now when compared to the period during COVID-19. The only difference is we don't have to wear masks and be locked down at this time because we are facing a July pandemic. But my straight dog family, it's the escalating crime that's in this country. Remember, the National Security Advisor told us that we will have one per month. Remember he told us this, my straight dog family? How many of us remember this, my straight dog family?
If we had one murder a month for 2024, as terrible as it sounds, we will only have 12.
Well, my Straight Talk family, we have gone beyond his prediction of 12 murders. Because sadly, on Saturday and Sunday, we've had 2 murders in this country, taking us to 19 murders for 2024. And an overall of 58 murders under July from since he took office. When the Doctor of Philosophy, Timothy Harris, was in the office, the people had more money in our pockets and our streets were safer. But sadly, my Straight Talk family, under the 4th Prime Minister and 3rd medical doctor, our economy is dead and our sons are dying. Sadly, we had 4 doctors, but our economy, as we speak, is dead. And more people are dying under Dr. July. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. I'm going to open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do so, I anticipate, my Straight Talk family, that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to our concern. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will build such friendships. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. My Straight Talk family, it's now 8 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. And we now will have opened the lines. We'll entertain your calls, my Straight Talk family, and we'll also entertain your emails. And at 9:08, as I said, we go to the lines and we say, good night, caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Yes, we had Patel.
You. Yes, the Bible man. Good night. Good to hear the Bible.
You're loud?
Good to hear the Bible man. Good to hear you. How was you?
Yeah. So, I tell you something, you know. Well, Psalm 34 passage. Psalm 34. Now I am going to hand up my Guyanese people them who send the regards to the Bible man. Good night. Good night. And I wish that the Lord will bless you wonderful. Now, Patel, Psalm 34. I will bless the Lord all times. His praise shall continue in my mouth. My soul shall make a boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear it and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from my fears. They looked upon him, and there was lightning, and their face was not ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and delivered him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord comforted around him, about them. The angel of the Lord come around there and pay him up them. Yes, and deliver them. Oh, taste and see the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in him. That is, I ain't going no further than there.
Thank you very much.
But I know I catch your tail tonight. It's so good and plenty. No play with me.
Okay, my brother. Okay, my brother.
No play with me, buddy.
Okay, my brother.
But everyone you have to deal with.
Okay.
Have a pleasant night. Oh, my friend. I wish all I want everybody who hearing and the sound of my voice. I want to read
Okay.
Somber chapter 8 and read the whole passage from. I ain't got no time to go through it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All what happened there, and know what happened right now.
Okay, my brother. Okay.
First Samuel chapter 8, and I read it.
Okay.
Good night, Patches.
Good night, my brother. Always welcome your spiritual interventions. I go right back to the lines and say good night to this caller. Call you live.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd.
Good evening, my dear.
The quote for this evening. There may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest. I repeat, there may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest. Have a great evening.
You know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but I'm not so good on the shorthand and thing, right? And you really hustle it down for me. And I like your quote. I like your quote, you know. So if you take some time with me, there may be times when we are powerless.
Okay. There may be times when we are powerless,
right? What?
To prevent injustice.
Okay.
But there must never be a time.
There must never be a time
when we fail to protest.
Fail to protest.
We should, must never be a time when we fail to protest.
Okay, my dear. There may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time
when we fail to protest.
When we fail to protest.
Protest.
Okay, thank you very much, my. I look forward to these quotations, really. But thanks a lot. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
When we fail to protest. Let's go back to the lines. I want to thank this caller for holding. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Straight Talk.
How is my brother from another mother?
Mi hermanos, buenas noches.
Buenas noches. ¿Está bien?
Sí, señor. Mr. Straight Talk, you have to do some homework for me. One, they says that that's why Joe fixed back the mag because he want to hold the dead them whether you. I just point out there because I listened to Timothy there and Saturday, and that's when I find out that they said I couldn't understand why they have all these people and they're not burying them. So they says that is because some kind of problem they have, or either the guy is not getting paid, but they have all these dead that pack up in the mag and you can't get them out because he decided that everybody, whether you die home or something, some kind of problem that you have to end up in the mag and get what you call it, the autopsy before they bury you. So that's number one. Number two, I hear that they keep up the King Lawyer kept up the CBI money, and when he carry it up, he start dropping. So now he bring it back down. That's number two. You understand? What was number three? I can't remember number three. I forget number three. But let me just say good night to my brother Culture and my nice niece there in St. Louis. And Texas Queen, how are you? We haven't heard nothing from you. You're going silent on us. But hey, we still love your Texas Queen. And my brother there in Bellevue, Alvin, and his son, George Reed. I just want to heal you guys up. So, Mr. Straight Talk, that's 2 homework for me. The MAG and the CBI program. Understand? This is that they kept the money and they carried up so high and now they have to drop it back down because he's not making no money. Oh, I don't think it's the mice alone or what. They put the boys together, the cheese. My nephew called me and he tell me, you gotta listen straight talk. So they put the mice together, the cheese. I say, what? Sweetheart, you really have to make people laugh. No, how you put boys together cheese?
Yes,
but I just want to say to you, my brother, that we love you. You are doing a wonderful job. Just continue to do what you got to do. So next week, hope to get an answer from you about those 2. I can't remember what number 3 was, but I'll remember it and I just forget it. So, Mr. Straight Talk, I'll see you soon. Be good. Take care of yourself.
Be good as well, my dear brother. And hope that you are well. Have yourself a wonderful night. And we go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding the caller you live.
Thank you, Patches. Good night, Patches.
Oh, let's talk about who that is. That's your choice. That's your choice. That's your choice.
I am your shadow, your tail, and everything. Anywhere you go, look back, you're going to see me right there.
How is the volcano in Montserrat, by the way? We haven't heard of Montserrat for a long time.
Well, I just come from up there. I just come from up there Thursday night.
I hope Montserrat is fine. You know, I've heard.
Yeah, man. Montserrat is fine, man. The great, I turn down the wick, so the heat don't keep down.
I must also hail my fans in Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Jenny, I trust that your brother and your sister have sorted things out. But what's on your mind? I'm sorry about that. I distracted.
That's okay. Good night, Brother Straight Talk, and good night, the world. Brother Straight Talk, you're perfect, you're right. I hear about the Mark too. That they're pathologists, and they haven't paid him for jobs that was done by him, and he decided money up front before he touch anymore. I hear the same thing like you, Brother Straight Talk. But let me go here first with the soccer engineer. Now you're gonna tell me, if there is a danger that when you walking going where you have a right to walk, and your neighbor dog running after you, everybody who pass you, you're running after them, then you all have to do something to protect your life. I am saying this now. Up there in the water department where the soccer engineer is, with the mole upstairs and the mole downstairs, he's going to make sure that upstairs is clean and secure. Well, what happened to those downstairs? Well, I am saying this to the workers downstairs. This is more than your right. Because you're supposed to protect your life. Anything that endanger in your life to kill you, you have a right to move yourself away from that. And in this situation up there where you are talking, come out and demonstrate against that. Because it is wrong. And he knows it is wrong and it is detrimental to people's lives. So why should he have you all downstairs working in the moldy house? And he's going to make sure he's clean up. People, this is you all right now. Come out on the street and demonstrate. Because what happened to them there? That cabal from Monkey Hill. You got a lot of people, so they're Christians. A lot of people go in church, and I don't know what they're going for. They're supposed to go in the house of God to worship God. When you depart to serve. And they're going to watch people so wicked to their brothers and sisters. Don't care whether they live sick or whatever. And they're going to smile with them and say they're good. Come on, people. Come on. Now, next thing again, let me go here, Patches. We all know, since in the 90s, every time they got labor, they jam. The result of the grammar school pass show. whenever the leader of the gang go to speak, they tell them what they're going to do for them. And what we used to call non-establishment workers, they changed the name to auxiliary workers. And they were promised that they're going to get compensation and all kind of thing. And pension, all kind of thing. That was in the pipeline from long time. And up to when Team Unity leave, it was still in there to put into action. And now they're going around giving people check and saying that, you see what we do? You see what we do? What we do what? They're claiming thing that doesn't belong to them. That was in there from the long time. So, and the but the politicizing everything anyway, I'll come back with a short punch.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick. So long.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We go right back to the lines. Okay, we lost that caller. Okay, yes, the lines are open, my Straight Talk family, and we go straight back to the lines and say, caller, you live.
Yeah, greetings. Ian Patches and everybody in St. Kitts and Nevis. There's one question I want to ask. What is the situation with all of these agricultural lands in St. Kitts? Redevelopment by the people. An economy cannot depend upon tourism and the selling of passports. Tourism takes years to build, and in 20 seconds, tourism can be destroyed. So I would like to know, as someone who has been in government or around government, how do you see it in terms of the development of St. Kitts going forward? The crime that you're talking about, and two, the future of the youth in St. Kitts.
Well, you raised the issue of the lands at first, right? And we recall that under the 2014 or 2011 IMF homegrown arrangement, the lands were swapped for debt, 1,200 acres of those lands, and on the Team Unity we bought back 400 acres, so at least 800 acres of the land are still with the National Bank. So there's some restriction there in terms of the lands. And yes, agriculture for self-sufficiency is one way to build resilience. As you quite rightly said, that all tourism areas have a cycle, there's a tourism area cycle where the peak and the trough, so you can't depend on tourism. It's a fickle industry. In terms of the crime, the alternative lifestyle program was working. It was working, no matter what people say. You say you pay for crime, but it was working. And what has happened here just a few months ago, there was an amnesty on guns and ammunition, and not one gun was turned in. So yes, we have to create employment for the youth, number one, and education is important, yes, but we have to create jobs. But if we have...
Hold a second, Patches. Hold a second.
Yeah.
Creating jobs. You have the guts in St. Kitts, and you have the sea. 21st century technology, we can use both to empower the people and to build industry in agriculture too. Whatever lands the past government messed up, because I don't really have a full understanding of what took place, there are the guts where the soil is just washing away to the sea year after year. And we have the sea where we can create jobs for our people.
When you say the guts, I don't quite understand that proposition.
What do you mean when you say the guts?
Yeah, but
Okay, hold on, my brother. Let me explain. When you leave camp and you're going down to West Farm, and there's a God coming down out of the hill.
Yes, but what can we do?
When you leave West Farm and there's a God coming out of the hill before you hit after you leave Boyd's. And there are a couple gods after you leave Boyd's going to Challengers, and after Challengers going into Old Road.
I'm familiar with
those are the guts I'm talking about.
I know I'm familiar with the guts, but I'm asking you what can be done with the guts. What you're suggesting?
Agriculture, man, and biotechnology.
In the guts?
Of course.
Okay. Very interesting proposition. I am not that expert, so agriculture in the guts is a very interesting proposition. But anything else, my brother?
Bless up.
Bless up. Bless up. Thank you. A call from Jamaica suggesting we use the guts for agriculture. I could understand the seawater for aquaculture. That's what it's called up for the marine industry. But blessed love, Mr. Patches reads this email. I saw you sort out the issue on Monday entitled Full Disclosure on Project Not Enough. And hey, Patches, really do enjoy the show. Keep putting the good work. Straight talk and facts. Reads this email. The Sunday meeting with the Prime Minister and his top security officials at police headquarters was just another talk shop and a waste of time. How many times are we going to hear the same rhetoric as outlined in the communique at the end of the meeting? And why was the security advisor notably absent from the meeting? Are they afraid that he will make another foolish and embarrassing statement? That he will be satisfied with the record of 12 murders per year? Dr. Drew, my advice to you is to swallow your pride and recall Major Saunders, whom you fired, and replace with your daddy-in-law or stepdad, when the majority was going splendid in criminal management here in the Federation. Since the current advisor has become so ineffective in the job, and he's still being paid a monthly salary of $20,000, this is another waste of public funds. Attorney General, why are you so silent now, seeing that the Treasury has been... remember you promised to stop the Treasury raping, or have you now joined in the raping yourself? Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
How are you doing, Brother Patches?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Thankful for the love of thy majesty and our majesty. And thankful for the ancient ancestors. So, you like to say blessed night to your listeners via radio, most of YouTube and Facebook and you call Facebook, your social media feeding. And I like to just look at your discussion that you're playing in the public view and the world view. You know, you're emphasizing about poor doctors and the studies that they have got to the economy of Senator Nevis. And when we look at the aspect of how we see the economy, there's a lot of these factors based our development and social equality among our people. Now you're outlining from the actual stand of the premier status within the Blackio and also align with the short term of Limo, where he was emphasized to go into the election from 1980, and then from there he changed something to the political spectrum of the People Action Movement. And then you outline your grounds on how the People Action Movement have been a different place in how our people treated under the labor movement of a black girl within the time of women who were free of being independent, they can work at administrative office, which I find that as inhumane, totally disrespectful. So those are some of the things that we hear you must the emphasis. So one thing I would like to bring forward to your discussion is that any of these leaders who you bring out as doctors, they hold, have they claimed to give a general discourse on how economical development has thrived, doing things that make so better demand than how it was under the yoke of the European colonial powers that emphasize still have a control under our people due to the collision that we stayed in our parliament, because all of those political people you're being emphasis on as leaders of our federation are bowing down to the same demon who control us in the time of the political content of the European gangsters. So I would like to say, if you really serious, because you hold the effort about educating our youth, and I'm glad you said that, because these are the time now we need to bring in the emphasis. How will we educate youth? Are we going to change the format of what we're pushing? Are we going to bring something that is more development than how we see it come from? And knowing it, like ready to push that, because you're still pushing something to gravitate a leadership that cannot bring changes for people. Safety net. I mean, we're not trying to bash leaders. None of them but saying no face reality. No political leader will ever to stand up and go and bring in our people to the better demand than what they are pushing when it comes to agenda setting. And you know that too. You know that. Because you are go there by these workers who are confined by talking about international partners, and they put onto the table the deals that they want to follow with their policies, council and foreign relationship. Why you don't emphasize these things? We are determined that pushing and the aspect of how you're struggling, because we don't understand the relationship of the outer world are pushing on the small developing countries. We don't hold it on that level. We don't hold it on the political sector, because we want to see who can be a favorite party. It's bull crap that are here. We need total liberation from this army that are promoting. Until we wake up and know these things here, then we will have a real education to our youth. That is my view. I think that you need to emphasize as a journalist, because journalism is only giving you a pattern of the facts. You don't give the two facts. And you say straight up is as you say, it is an area that come out and give emphasis about the truth. But we want the facts, and that's what we're talking on. Total truth in fact about how we will change the dynamics of how we people suffering and living in the condition we are facing. Okay. That's what we need. 2 political changes, 2 social changes, and 2 liberation stand. Because they will quiet until we have total peace for our brothers and sisters who are under the economical yoke. So you need to make that there be a quiet in our liberty. None of these leaders are yet. Neither Douglas, neither Timothy, neither Dr. Flu, who I have as a requirement stuff in our federation of thinkers and youth. They are yet. Because they know going to go up against this egoistic mindset of these money grabbers that call investors. They don't go up against them. Start with them to get the benefit of what they need as a political career. You have a blessed night.
So before you go, Ras Aya.
Yes, brother. You go ahead.
Clearly, there's a muffled sound, but so what is your suggestion? If none of those 4 leaders could make the cut, what or who you suggest?
It's best thing for all people to have as a way of leadership is leader who can be a moral leader who have a stand in how criticism comes and how to be fired. Him or her. Because we don't look at a leader just to be a man. We want a leader to have a balance. You see? And him or her, whoever emphasizes the leadership, must be able to take good course from him or her people, and not from people who have not the best factor for the people to develop. We ain't seen that wrong here, brother Package, and we're serious about that. You are calling for your own court because of what the 10 factors were in farm. What about the development that was not researched for people? And the farm administration, they talk about the Rich Starlight Hotel was supposed to come out in the same southeast. That ain't no landed in St. Nevis. And now this one you're coming and they're bringing in investors. Up to now, one investor is coming to bring an indication of economical change and social development to the people. You ain't see that? But they're working to enhance the own pocket fully and let the people them continue being in miseries and separation. Then we have all this confusion in household and on the street.
Okay. I got you,
You
Lord.
cannot live like that. You cannot live like that. You need to change that magnitude here.
Okay.
It's suffering and it is cooking evil plan that these politicians do. You have a blessed night.
Have a blessed night as well. My Rast brother, Ras Aya, and he's given his take on the way forward. Interestingly, you made that point, and the second Prime Minister spoke to free education at the college level. He said this as well.
I want to emphasize that is why education was free, not only legislated for every child, but it was also free for every citizen in this country who wanted to move on. Indeed, St. Kitts and Nevis has now gone even beyond this. I remember well the determination of focus which my cabinet colleagues and I successfully pushed decades ago to ensure that there was free access for all our students to the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College, our community college. 80% today, 80% of our teachers in this country now possess associates, bachelors, or higher levels of degrees. There is a 98% secondary school enrollment rate in our federation. There's a 25% enrollment rate at our own college I just mentioned, all of which position our population to take advantage of employment and additional training opportunities that we will be providing. In a nutshell, our human capital development thrust is designed to produce critical thinkers, high-skilled workers, and of course, innovators.
Okay, let's go back to the lines. I want to thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Liburd, man. How you doing?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. I just want to focus in on two things tonight. One, the dividend. You know, I really want to know, you know, why that dividend is not going to be paid out this year. We were promised 2 dividends, I think, for this year, right? June and December, possibly. And it seems like the Prime Minister has now rolled that back. And I just want the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to focus in on that for a minute, especially the underprivileged people, those people whose pockets this dividend was going to hit. I want them to take a note of this and, you know, realize that over 40 years, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis has been kept in the dark about their own national asset called the CBI program, their passport. And a lot of those monies that was collected during those 40 years should have gone to development of the country and should have hit the people's pockets as dividends. And for 40 years or prior to when this administration or this Prime Minister put out whatever dividend he put out, before that, there was no dividend paid to the people for all those years before. You know, unfortunately, the Prime Minister has to pull this back now because, you know, things are sliding downhill and a lot of allegation of corruption has now seen, the people has now seen through all these allegations of corruption has now seen that they were hoodwinked, bamboozled and kept in the dark for so much years. And that money was mismanaged. We still ain't got a state-of-the-art hospital yet. Our roads are not in immaculate shape. We have projects on both islands are not getting completed. The money should have gone to the development of the country and to the people's pockets as dividends. And now that money is going to be pulled back. I hope when June of next year comes, the promise for a minimum increase, I hope that they don't touch that. But me personally, I already seen that is in jeopardy. And this December, being that we only had like a 50% payout for a bonus last year, this December, that double what people are accustomed to getting is not going to happen again this year. That's my prediction. And with all the monies that collected over the years, I believe that the people them got to realize that this dividend should never be stopped. Because I guarantee you they didn't stop selling passports, but the money was there. It ain't the people's fault that this money was mismanaged. It was the politicians' fault. They all to blame. Different than that, I want to be on the heels of, I think there was a caller on another program talking about the lands that was secured by, our hero Bratcher. We are praising Bratcher for securing those lands, but since this man has gone, the lands get dwindled down. We moved away from sugarcane industry, and none of the lands was preserved for agriculture. So the farmers them are now screaming out that we are now seeing that this prime minister is saying that there's the banking system in the federation has loaned out monies. Those monies were not collected, and they're pumping money back into the same banks that own the land now because of the land for debt swap, and monies that he said was missing, I guess primarily from the bank he called Development Bank or whatever. They're pumping money into that bank and the National Bank, and those banks that own the lands. If we're going to be pumping money back into those banks, then the people that need to be getting them lands back. At least the government needs to take ownership back of those lands and just not pumping the money into those banking system. Instead of just pushing that money back into the banking system to save those banking institutions, they should be releasing those lands back to the people.
Okay.
That's my 2 points that I just want to hammer straight out tonight.
Okay.
And those farmers who are advocating for that, they earn the money about that. But the government got to take action on that, because they just can't be pumping millions back into these banks, and then the people are not getting nothing for return. At least the government need to capture those lands and have ownership of those lands back in the government possession, and then they can distribute that land to the farmers for agriculture.
Okay.
And thanks a lot. And real quickly before you go, I just want the whole Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to know that I've heard the guy, Mr. Watley, Duncan Watley, said on his podcast that he is going to plan a protest August 9th. And if that's going to happen, I just want him to know that I'll be behind him 100%. And if he needs my help, he should reach out to Iman on WhatsApp, 1-862-218-6422.
Okay.
Mr. Big Lights Watley, if he's really going to put this protest together and he needs my help, you can reach me at 1-862-218-6422 on the WhatsApp. And I know somebody's listening tonight that can pass this information on to him.
Okay. Got you loud and clear, my brother.
I just want the people to follow up on that and support this man with that protest he's planning. And I just hope that he make that a reality.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. And you guys have a good night.
Have a good night as well. Thanks for your intervention. I want to make this clear that the money for the lands the government put up, then the SSMC, which was a government corporation, had put up the lands as collateral in order for the government, or for the SSMC, to manage the crop each season. They needed money to ensure that they can reap the cane, produce the sugar, and they got the money from the bank. The central bank at some stage said the bank must be in a bankable position, so that instead of just taking out money from the national bank, because government still has 51% of the shares, the SSMC had to put up their land as collateral. So the land in the bank, which was used to swap the debt, is the bank's land, not the government's land. And the bank has shareholders. The unity government under Harris bought back some 400 acres of the land in the last amount paid was $200 million. So the SSMC got millions of dollars from the National Bank. So they used the bank's money in order to ensure that there was a crop each year. So that has to be absolutely clear. So it's not just a matter of taking the lands from the bank. You have to give the bank its money. It's the people's money, the shareholders' money. The other question you raised was what? About the dividends. Yes. And again, when it comes to the monies, there's a real gray area in as it relates to the citizenship by investment program. The only money that the government collects are the fees, and the fees have been collected for ages. I pointed you to 2014, as way back as 2014, was it? Yes, as way back as 2014. These are in the budget estimates that are public business. You can go online and search for this. And if you look at citizenship by investment, $325 million was actually collected in 2014. So when we keep talking about money out there that belong to the people, I'm somewhat cautious that we have to be careful what money we are looking for. Because under the CBI, what the government collect are fees. In 2022, the actual collection was $665 million. That's what government collected for the CBI. So then again, one has to be careful what we are looking for. But for those of you who may have just joined me nonetheless, my Straight Dog family, we looked at our theme for tonight. 4 doctors, our economy, and more people dying under July. And as I mentioned, for those of you who may have joined me late, I use the comments of our second Prime Minister, a statement he made at the investment summit sometime last week. And he said this about the leaders. He said this.
And that is why, it's a very serious statement. And that is why I'm a medical doctor. The current Prime Minister is a medical doctor. Our first Prime Minister, was a medical doctor. The one in between is a doctor of sorts. But we are medical doctors. And that is why, it's a very serious statement. And that is why, if petitions and divisions are to be competitive, if we are to fulfill our God-given potential, we must not only be educated, but we must be healthy, as I said.
And we can ask ourselves, and what we try to do is ask ourselves whether the doctor of sorts, as referred to by the second Prime Minister, who is a medical doctor, and there were 2 other medical doctors who are our leaders. One is our current leader, who is a medical doctor. But a doctor of sorts, as I tried to explain earlier, is someone who performs medical duties, but is not a traditional doctor and surely cannot be Tim Harris as a doctor of sorts. Because our third Prime Minister, Timothy Harris, is a doctor of philosophy. He has a PhD, which denotes the highest level of academic, my Straight Dog family, the highest level of academic achievement in a given discipline. And I think in his case, it is accounting and/or accounting and finance. I'll verify that on our next program. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller?
Yes, good night, Brother Patches.
Yeah, good night, sir.
Good night, my Petitions and Nevision family. I would like to start off with this note of a very somber situation that hit me. There is a gentleman who is in JN France Hospital now who has developed a brain issue. His name is Bernard Sargent. He is a guy who used to be a member of the martial arts, I think it's Nevis Taekwondo martial arts. He go by a nickname, Mush. And I am focusing on him tonight because I hope that whatever doctors are surround him, at least some miraculous doing will bring him back afloat in great sense and humor. He was said to be brain dead, but on and off, he's responding and not responding. But in the name of doctors, and the greatest doctor of all is the Almighty Father, who we trust. But having said that, and to know someone close to you in that predicament, we got to depend also on the medical attention by doctors. And you know, there is a saying, once you go up to JN France, in certain predicament, there is not a chance of coming back out. That is just, should I say, a rumor? But I hope in this case, this man will pull through. But apart from that, our country, St. Kitts and Nevis, is in great trouble in terms of finances, mismanagement of funds, misappropriation of funds, as it will legally said. And just like I think that gentleman who spoke a while ago, Ras Ayar, think, St. Kitts need an empathetic, a sympathetic, and a passionate government to the people's needs than that hard takeaway of the little social programs that was subsidizing and sustaining them. We need all these programs to be reactivate. And last but not least, government has to understand they came from the people, they are the people, and they are the people. And the few who are sitting down in cabinet, they are acting as kleptocrats. And I got that word from you in notice and attention. Okay? And we need those things to be gone. I have a forecast for the next election, but I will yield to someone else to come in. I hope I will get a chance to come in again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. What Big Lights revealed last week is very frightening to us in this country, reads this email. From when a citizen cannot defend himself in a court of law, for a high court judge to tell Big Lies he must hire a lawyer, otherwise he will rule the case in favor of Congress Maynard or of Congress. What madness and stupidity is this? I have witnessed many times in the past in the high court prisoners defended themselves successfully without having to pay these ridiculous and exorbitant fees lawyers are charging for cases. Many people are of the opinion that if they were to defend themselves, they will do a far better job than if they had a lawyer, because there are some lawyers who literally cause their clients to lose their cases because of their unprofessionalism and wrong questions they ask. And furthermore, according to the judge's rules, judges are to assist a defendant in a trial if they do not have a lawyer. Recently, the Attorney General stated in Parliament that they now have a provision in place where the government will provide a lawyer to those who do not have a lawyer. Was this just another one of his empty waffle talk? Judges and attorneys general, the Lord God has warned you in the book of Amos 5, verse 24, to let justice and righteousness roll down like waters and like an ever-flowing stream. One day you will surely pay for your wrong deeds. Reads this email. This other email reads, good night, Mr. Straight Talk. You always have a particular caller from overseas who's calling straight and said, I'm calling on behalf of Dr. Drew. But first things first, Dr. Drew and his Red Label comrades, they don't be on this platform. They do not be on this platform and need talk on behalf of Dr. Drew. Please call in on one of the government platforms, and if you want to call and to speak on behalf of Dr. Drew, or calling in on Freedom platform with EK or Austin, Appleton, Edinburgh, or Mr. Began Barrow, and tell them what's on your mind about the Prime Minister, because Straight Talk is the platform for people who are hurting or want issues about the government and facts. That overseas callers, please stop. Hold up the Straight Talk line with talk we can't address. Speak to Beg and Borrow because he is the Prime Minister's advisor, and thank you in advance. Reads this email. The country is in a terrible state. Too much gun violence, too many murders, too much robberies, too many break-ins taking place in the country, and the government is just impotent, not knowing what to do. Despite their boasting that they are all experts, empty words and no actions, reads this email. Patches, when will Timothy Harris and Sean Richards come to the public and apologize to the people who they have hurt so much? When will they bury the hatchet in order to save this country and take it from retarded Drew? I am not saying they should be in the leadership again in the next dispensation, but they will certainly have a crucial role to play in taking out Drew out of office and contributing towards the next administration. By the way, Patches, my new slogan for PLP and PAM is take them out. Patches, we are fed up of this heartless government, reads that email. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Patches,
yes, sir.
You take away $500 from hundreds of people who needed it.
You got a lot of noise in your phone.
I hear it too, I don't know where it's coming from.
Okay.
Yeah, you take away $500 from the needy people who needed it. But look what you do again, plus that. The solar farm would have employed 200 or more workers up there, and the man condemned that. And this is the time when a lot of people needed the solar farm to help the electric light bill. With this global heat, everybody dog and all got fan, cooling it down. So imagine if the solar farm was in action. People's light bill would not have been that high. Look, we're going to be this time here with this heat. And that is to show people that he do not have no love for Kitty Sean. All he has the love for his long pocket and go up and down the place, tell lies. I am asking them, this Mickey Mouse, Sesame Street government, call back Colonel Sanders, Major Sanders, and give the man the job that he had here. Keep the politics aside. 58 murders in 23 months under Joe. Come on, brother. And 19 for 24. 19 the only 6.5 months. And we don't got 19. And in a total 58. And he made things going good. The crime was under control. And he mashed it up. All because he don't want to say he continue anything that the former administration had in the pipeline. He changing up everything and making a mock of the country. Anyway, Patches, time is short. I have to go. People, stand up and rise up and demonstrate against them. Get them, send him home. Have a good night, Patches.
Have a good night as well. Check out the photo of nepotism in the Whitegate saga. Everyone laughing except Dougie, Hazel, Kenny, Leon, and the lady from St. Paul's. Patches, are you aware of the many folks that go to bed on a hungry stomach at nights. You might say this is not the first time and it won't be the last either. Mama ain't gonna let her picnics go to sleep without something to eat, even if she has to burn her bed. So if you have the authority to help many, why not do so? Instead of people bearing some heavy consequences. The government's heart hard. Them no give one damn about nobody, for they are in power and have the authority. Time gonna tell as crime increases. Many are gonna take things into their hands and many gonna put their hands in head and ball like babies. No, they don't want people to empower themselves. They don't want folks to be independent, to make folks poor and poorer so they can be constantly begging and become reliable on the government. Let's go back to the lines. Thank this caller for holding. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Thank you again, Pat. As I mentioned before, I will try to get back in with another commentary. That last email you read there, it is so true. Because when it comes to certain entity, it lies down to a beggar has no choice. The government is hoping that people will be always begging them, so they can throw all kind of garbage in their face. And that is the ideology and the mentality of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I believe it's spread to other countries. But I'm going to speak on behalf of St. Kitts people. Okay? In the situation of Duncan Watley, Big Life, every man is entitled to defend himself in court. And we call that in the United States, pro se, self-representative. That commentary that judge made towards Big Lies, he has to hire a lawyer or else he's going to rule in the case. That judge should be disbarred from that trial. If he is sitting and is presiding over that case, he should not be there. And that is a wrong comment. That is prejudice. What if Big Lies cannot afford a lawyer? And I'm not just speaking about Big Lies. It goes to anyone who feels they have the vigor to defend themselves. Because remember, a lawyer has to hear the case from whosoever the client is. And they go and try to fix it in the way that they can win or make sense of a case. Okay? And Big Lies is an educated man. Okay? And if he feels he can defend himself in that respect, that judge has no right to tell him that. Okay? Yes, he could ask him. He should ask him if he could afford a lawyer. And if he says he cannot afford a lawyer, he will be his own lawyer. That judge has no right to say that. And that is a strike against that judge. He's prejudiced and he's out of order. And he should be disbarred from that case. Okay? That sounds too selfish. These incentives, the prices are too high.
Okay.
And the public defender. And sometimes you cannot even put trust in public defenders.
Okay.
Public defenders, they're all set up too. So Big Lies, defend yourself and continue with that. And seek to change that judge. Because these people feel like they are judge, jury, and executioner. But it's not. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We go back to the lines and perhaps make this my last call for the night. Caller, you're live. Yes, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I am peaceful. You got your equipment on? Yeah?
Okay, I'll turn it down.
Please, yes. Just listen to the telephone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Patchism.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Based on what Big Lie said, if what Big Lie said is accurate, that the judge told him if he don't get a lawyer, he's going to give the case over to the other person. Patchism, that is totally totally out of order and unaccepted. If I feel I could defend myself, who is the judge to tell me or to force me to get a lawyer? And if me no want get one, he gonna watch me in the face and tell me he gonna give me case or the case to the opponent. That judge need reprimanding patches. Whoever he be, he need to be reprimanded. It is wrong. And if that's the way the justice system going in St. Kitts, a lot of we gonna get ourselves in trouble. Have a good night.
Yeah, but can I ask you a question? You there?
Yes.
I'm not. I'm just listening to it, right? And I'm not a lawyer or anything, but the Attorney General took an ex parte injunction against me, right? And quite frankly, I couldn't represent myself on it because, I mean, with all the cases cited in the affidavits and so on, you have to research them. I mean, it's a civil matter, so I'm not saying the judge is right or wrong, but I'm just trying to have a discussion on it. It's not like a simple criminal matter where a guy say he slapped you and you say he didn't slap him or you say it's self-defense. And I think these civil matters are much more complicated. So I'm trying to flip that side of it. I don't know if you ever thought about that.
Yes. Achieve. Where the judge went wrong, if it being said, the judge should have never said he would turn the case over in the hand of the other person.
But you said if he said that, yeah.
If he said that, if he said that according to Big Lies, he should have never said that. He should have just insist, Mr. Big Lies, this case is of this level. You need to get a lawyer to represent you. Just keep on saying that. Don't go tell him that if you ain't bring a lawyer, I gonna give the case to Peter Paul. That is wrong, Patches.
Okay.
That is the wrong part.
Yes, I got you.
The judge owed in that area. Or as you Patches said earlier, he should have guided Big Lies. That is the duty of the court to help to guide. Not you just make a decision and decide what you will do. That is not balanced in the court.
Okay.
No, it's wrong, Patches. And we have to call it out now.
Got you loud and clear.
We have to. Exactly, we have to call it out now because it might be you tomorrow, or it might be me next week. So we have to stop it while it's young. Have a good night.
Have a good night as well. That's coming from, and perhaps I'll make that my final call for the night, my Straight Talk family. I believe I've given you back the time. It's past 10 o'clock, and you may have joined me late. And tonight we discuss the thesis titled 4 Doctors, Economy, and More People are dying under July. Who is the doctor? As I stated earlier, I use as my point of departure for tonight a comment made by one of the doctors who, in fact, was our second Prime Minister. And he said this.
I'm a medical doctor. The current Prime Minister is a medical doctor. Our first Prime Minister was a medical doctor. The one in between is a doctor of sorts. But we are medical doctors. And that is why.
So my Straight Talk family, yes, you had that laughter from the crowd, but can we ask ourselves when we examine the performance of the 3 medical doctors versus the one doctor or the other doctor who is a doctor in philosophy, who performs so well, my Straight Talk family. And when I reflected as well on the history of St. Kitts and Nevis and its political leadership, going back to Bradshaw and Southwell, who were not medical doctors, not university graduates, but their stellar performance at the helm of government and the union earned them their status as national heroes. Bradshaw got a little bit of resources from Mother England, with which he had to do quite a lot, I should say, for his people. Bradshaw, it is said, never really accepted the stark economic differences in systems of production of the three islands. St. Kitts, for example, was one of the three islands that had a landless labor force who was solely dependent upon earnings from the main crop, which is sugar. And most divisions and Anguillans were self-employed, had a totally different perspective in terms of economic, social, and political development. Remember in 1967, when we were granted internal self-government, with the United Kingdom retaining responsibility for defense and foreign affairs. But from that moment, we were granted associated status, or statehood as some call it. This opened the door for secession, and we rebelled. Rumblings became louder and louder in Nevis. We fast-tracked to 1980, following the death of Bradshaw in 78 and Southwell in 79, and the short-lived administration under the Premier Liburd, who took the country to the polls the following year in 1980 and brought about the first coalition government between Simmons and Pam and Sim Daniels' NRP. And this political marriage of convenience took our nation to independence in 1983, and with the Constitution still laced with political expediency, clearly outlined in the 113 clause, or the secession clause, as we call it. And this has remained, my Straight Talk family, as we speak now. The first Premier or Prime Minister and medical doctor can be given some credit. The second Prime Minister and doctor can also be given some credit in some areas. Remember, he in fact was the one who introduced the SIDF, my Straight Dog family. He introduced the SIDF. But something went wrong and we became the highest debtor nation and had to run to the IMF for bailout. Crime became so prevalent. Our young men began dying like flies on our streets. And we also became the crime capital of the world. And it took not a medical doctor, but like I said, a doctor of philosophy and our third Prime Minister to salvage the ship of state. Paid off the IMF debt, as a matter of fact. Recovered some 400 acres of land in the name of the people. And if we are honest, we will now say that the third medical doctor and fourth Prime Minister, July, is taking St. Kitts and Nevis in the wrong direction. He has divided us economically, my Straight Dog family, and politically. The economy is dying or almost dead as nothing is going on. Things are hard. Poor people can't afford to buy food to eat. Chicken, like I said, my Straight Dog family, the poor man's staple. The basic and necessary item that the poor man eats. And my street dog family, July doesn't even know what is the cost of a pound of chicken. Could you imagine that, my street dog family? Doesn't even know this. Doesn't even know, doesn't have a clue. The poor man's food.
Just tonight, I was asked by the Prime Minister, what is the cost of a pound of chicken in St. Kitts? Well, of course, I asked my press secretary to take a look. And I reflected and wondered why the Prime Minister was asking such a question. And it's because I am thinking in my own mind that the cost of chicken might be going up. But as I reflect on it, we in St. Kitts and Nevis are also facing the same challenge. People are now making memes that I used to go to the supermarket with $100 and I couldn't fit on a bus or put it in my car trunk. Now when I go with $100, the child can carry how much things I can buy.
What about the housing, my street dog family? Is a rumor circulating that the developer Brian Singh is in some sort of trouble in his homeland of Trinidad and Tobago. But 3 weeks ago, July promised that the project will resume next week. It's now gone 3 weeks, my street dog family, since he said this.
And we have shared the wealth from the CBI with our people. Whenever the opportunity presents itself, I will share. And we have shared the wealth from the CBI.
Take that back, my street dog family. We were talking about the housing. We'll get to that. The housing, he said, would start in a week. But 3 weeks have passed, and the housing has not resumed, my street dog family. Up to this day, the housing has not resumed, my street dog family. But yes, after collecting $668 million, $668 million, my street dog family, the dividend that was promised, having paid the monkey money the year before, has not been coming forward. Not a cent. And some flimsy excuse like this, my straight dog family, which makes no sense whatsoever. He said this.
And we have shared the wealth from the CBI with our people. Whenever the opportunity presents itself, I will share it with the people. But it's a dividend, meaning that is the extra that is left after you would have fulfilled your full budget and any other thing that you can give directly.
And my straight dog family, as we wrap, the only way to raise our economy from the dead is to tackle the bread and butter issues that confront us. CBI is in a coma, confronted with a RICO lawsuit. Our foreign direct investment is seriously threatened. My straight dog family, we are in trouble. I provided the empirical data for you in terms of the actual revenue collected. But when we examine where our country has gone in just 2 years, many will regret the decisions we made in 2022. My street dog family, it's the escalating crime nonetheless. The National Security Advisor promised we'll have one murder, or predicted we'll have one murder per month some time ago. This was his prediction.
If we had one murder a month for 2024, as terrible as it sounds, we will only have 12.
Well, we've gone past 12. As we speak, we have 19 murders. Having had one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Nothing to gloat about, my Straight Talk family. But when the doctor of philosophy, Timothy Harris, the doctor of sorts, was in office, people had more money in their pockets and our streets were safer. Under the fourth Prime Minister and third medical doctor, our economy is dead and our sons are dying. Sadly, we had 4 doctors, but our economy and more people are dying under this doctor, this medical doctor, July, my Straight Talk family. That's my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. But I must thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many listeners, those of you who sent emails, those of you who called. Just remember that you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. Until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now, I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep, and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now, I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Since God protects me with His love, strong, pure and true.